And one of the questions I had was how we can base a belief first from belief and then from understanding. If in that case nothing would be stopping us from believing in the stupidest things. Right.
Get that? I think that's question number 3 or something on the list.
How do you have emunah before you have understanding?
Yes.
Well, the way understanding works is that the mind is curious, wants to understand. But what does it want to understand? There has to be a subject that intrigues the mind, and then the mind wants to understand it. So you always start off with information you don't understand. In other words, you don't start off with a question, because even a question, you have to know something in order to have a question. So all intelligence begins with a discovery that you don't understand. Now you want to understand it. Now you're curious.
But should you believe it before you understand it?
Yes, otherwise you won't be interested in understanding it. It won't be important to you. Let me give you an example. Maybe you've heard this already. Many, many years ago, the first explorer who went to Australia from America came back, and he was giving his report. And he said that there are animals that hop around on 2 hind legs, and the mother carries the baby in a pocket, in a pouch. So somebody said to him, "Oh, come on. How naive do you think I am? I'm too intelligent to believe such bubba mices." Was he intelligent?
Maybe.
Maybe. What does it depend on?
Whether he was actually intelligent.
No, what I mean is, was his objection intelligent?
No, not necessarily. Because he had no way of knowing or not.
Huh?
No, because he had no way of knowing whether it was true or not in the moment.
So what should he have done?
He should have researched it to find out. But he shouldn't have believed it before he researched it.
Why would he research something he doesn't believe?
So he can know whether he should believe it or not.
In other words, it was interesting enough or important enough for him to pursue it.
Right, but he didn't believe it before he researched it. He just heard about it.
Right.
He only.
So here's the question. When you hear something you've never heard before, what is the intelligent response? To believe it or not believe it?
To research it, so not to believe it right away.
If you don't believe it, you're not going to research it. You have no reason to.
You're researching it because you want to know whether you should believe it or not.
You want to believe it. You want to believe it.
Or you want to know if you want to know if you want to believe it.
No. What's the intelligent thing to do?
The intelligent thing to do is to be not sure about it until you do further research, and once you know whether it's true or not, whether to believe it.
Good. That's the common mistaken idea, that you never trust anything until you do research. That's not intelligent. That's paranoid. You're so afraid to trust anything that you have to do research first. That's not intelligent. Look, what is the reason that a person would say, "I don't believe it"? Does he have information that contradicts it?
No, he just doesn't have information that supports the claim.
Exactly. So, because he hasn't heard it before, or because he never saw it, he doubts it.
Right.
So imagine saying to the explorer, "Oh, come on, I've never heard of such a thing." What would the explorer say?
Well, research it so you find out if it's true or not.
No, no. The explorer would say, hey, that's what I get the big bucks for. If I come back and tell you what you already know, I'm not an explorer. The whole job of an explorer is to find new things that nobody ever saw before.
But
That's a reason to reject what I'm telling you.
if we believe before we find reason, then how would we know if what we're believing is true or not?
Oh, so what
Rabbi,
should,
there are many explorers who came back and made up stuff, no?
maybe,
Okay, so that's what he's saying. And then
see, listen to what you're saying. Because there were explorers in the past that lied, I am now paranoid. That's not intelligent. That's coward. He's afraid to believe. Not he's too intelligent to believe.
I'm afraid of believing something that's not correct.
Because he might get embarrassed.
Or
That's not
because
intelligent.
by
The
something that is
intelligent mind loves hearing things you never heard before. That's so exciting to the mind of an intelligent person. But because somebody told you there's a Santa Claus and then it turned out there's no Santa Claus, so now all of a sudden you can't trust anybody. That's not intelligent. That's scared.
But then how would you know if what you're believing is right or not?
Okay, so you have one of two options. Either you don't believe it until you find out it's true, or you do believe it until you find out it's not. An intelligent person believes it because he loves learning new things. So what should the person say to the explorer?
That it's true until that it's true, and if you find anything against it. But if it's
But give me more information. What else do you know about this animal? How does it give birth? It lays eggs. What does it eat? How long does it live?
the issue is once you start believing things, other things start to suggest that, even though they may not actually suggest that. You start to see things that lead to that, even if they don't actually.
Same is true if you don't believe. Once you become skeptical, you stop believing even things you should believe.
It's not about actively disbelieving it, you're just not sure. So
Now,
maybe you should right away, but you should first find out.
No, it's the same thing. It's a bias either way. You're not thinking objectively anymore. But intelligence is biased towards learning, not towards rejecting. So the healthy mind wants to know more. It never says, I don't believe. You know, it says, tell me more. I never heard about this, so I'm excited. Why would anybody think immediately, no, you're probably lying? What kind of attitude is that?
It's not about thinking right away that he's lying, it's just saying that you're not sure. I know.
How would you be sure of something in Australia?
By going to Australia, finding out.
The only way to be sure is to send an explorer. So the explorer comes back and you say, I'm not sure?
Well, if there's a possibility that the explorer is lying, then why would I believe him right away?
There's a possibility that you're not very intelligent and you'll never understand. You can't work with possibilities. You work with seichel. If we always suspected what people told us that we never heard before, we would still be living in huts. We would still be primitive. The only way that we became so sophisticated and intelligent is because we sent people to check things out. And that's how we learned new things without everybody having to go to Australia. The point is, you always believe before you know. Like every child believes what his father told him. The child says, what is that? The father says, it's a tree. Okay, so it's a tree. He doesn't question because he's busy learning. So let me give you a good example. A person says 3,333 years ago on Har Sinai, on the day of Shavuos, the Eibishter came down and spoke to the Yidden. Imagine a person saying, oh, I don't believe that. You don't believe that? That is not an intelligent reaction. You're saying, I didn't see it. No, you didn't see it. Or you're saying, I never heard that before. Good, well, now you heard it. What's your problem? So what does it mean you don't believe it? The only way you can be intelligent and not believe it is if you have information, knowledge, that contradicts it.
The idea with the claim, though, is that if you're making the claim, you're going to need to bring something to back it up. Otherwise, as I said, I'm not going to know whether it's true or not. And I think when it comes to something that has such a large impact on your life, I think it'd be more intelligent to first research, not necessarily to disbelieve it, but to not be sure about it until you are sure about it.
You can be sure about it, but you need more information before you change your life.
That also works vice versa. I would need more information before changing my life in regards to this new information.
Yes. So the intelligent reaction is, tell me more. I can't just go on this little piece of information. Fill out the picture. Who was there? What did he say? Why did he say? How do you know? But because I want to know, not because I doubt it. I have no reason to doubt it.
At what point do you draw the line? Can someone disprove the Big Bang Theory? Just because you have information or knowledge that's not true?
There's a difference between a theory and a discovery or an experience, an event. A theory is meant to be theorized.
Right.
So if the theory doesn't appeal to you, so you reject it. But you can't say people had a certain experience and you don't believe them. Well, what kind of...
What?
So here's the point. Here's the point. The way intelligence works is what you believe today, you try to understand by tomorrow. And then tomorrow you'll believe in something greater. Like, why does a person go into physics? He wants to become a physicist. Why? Because he believes in it. He doesn't really know it very well, but whatever he heard about it intrigues him. So far, his relationship with physics is faith. It's not understanding. That's why he's going to pursue it and get to understand it. So the direction in life is what you believed yesterday, you should get to understand today. Yesterday, your father told you that it's so, and that's how you knew it. Now you have to understand it. Not because you doubt it, but because you want to know more. That's an intelligent human being. Let me say something else. Doubt does not come from intelligence. And proof is not necessary in life. It's only necessary in a laboratory. You don't need proof that your father is your father and your mother is your mother. That's crazy. You don't need proof. Proof is only necessary in a laboratory if you want to consider it a scientific fact. But life is not science. You don't need proof in life. In life, you need seichel. You need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So doubt is really not necessary. And yet everybody thinks that doubting is some kind of a sign of intelligence. It's really not. If you never doubted anything, you would be a perfectly healthy human being. So most of the time, when people say, I doubt, they really mean, I don't know. Like somebody asks me, you think there's life on other planets? Oh, I doubt it. You doubt it? You don't know anything about it. Why can't you just say, I don't know?
Sounds smarter.
And that's not a doubt, that's for sure.
I think the idea is that you're saying that you don't know.
Huh?
I think the idea is that you're saying that you don't know. And you don't know until you have reason to know. I mean, if I don't know something,
Somebody else knows, that's good enough. If somebody else knows, then I want to know too.
how do I know that they know? I mean, there's a concept of lying.
The man said he had the experience. He saw those animals. But that's not
Right.
true.
The man has reason to lie about the fact that he saw the animals.
No, he doesn't. Again, unless you have good reason to think he's lying, like he's lied before, he has a bad reputation, why would you be so paranoid? He's an explorer. He came back. He saw fascinating things.
The idea of Har Sinai is a lot more bombastic than a kangaroo.
All the more intriguing.
Right, but intriguing doesn't mean true. Intriguing just means you're interested, so you like to find out whether it's true or not. That's the process, whether you believe it's true.
You're not trying to find out whether it's true. You're trying to find out more information because you want to understand it, not just believe it. Because if you just take his word for it, that's good too. There's nothing unintelligent about that. You just don't understand the subject. So if you say to the explorer, I believe you. Okay. You want to know any more about it? Not really. Not interested. Okay. Not your topic. You don't want to know more about it. But now you know that there is such an animal. How do you know? Reports. There were reports.
So what puts Yiddishkeit aside from any other religion?
Oh, very good question. Very good question. So there's a religion that says that their Yashke walked on water. Do you believe?
Yeah. Okay.
Huh?
Okay. Yeah.
Do you believe it?
You're like what you're saying. Then the reports. So that's the logical thing to do.
Yeah. So for you to say I don't believe it, on what grounds?
No pun intended.
You never saw anybody walk on water. Well, that's your problem. That's not a good argument. So a person would say, for example, God came and spoke to the people at Mount Sinai. And a person says, in my lifetime, that never happened. I know, right? It was a one-time event. Yeah, you're right. So you can't say, oh, that never happens. I'm telling you that one time it did happen. There's nothing unintelligent. So if you're gonna reject Christianity because they believe that he walked on water, that's not intelligent. There's no rule in science that says that a person cannot walk on water. So you can't say it's not possible. You can say it's highly unlikely. It's very rare. But you know, until some guy learned how to jump over a what is it called, pole vaulting, you would say it's impossible for somebody to jump over an 11-foot obstacle. Until somebody did.
Again, so what?
It's impossible for a person to lift a truck until somebody does. That doesn't mean it's going to happen every day. In other words, the only justification for not believing something is conflicting information. So even if you say, I don't believe this explorer. Why? Because I have information that he has lied before. That's an intelligent argument. But without any information, you can't say it didn't happen. So why do we reject Christianity? Because they think he was born without a father? I can't say for sure that no one can be born without a father. So why do we reject Christianity?
Anyone have any idea?
You know, the main reason is because they've been killing us for 2,000 years, okay? You're telling me you have a good religion? What kind of good religion kills us for 2,000 years? So that's the main reason.
That would make it not good, not necessarily not true.
What about the Yidden to Amalek?
It's a contradiction. You tell me you're making peace in the world and all you do is kill people.
Well, that would be jumping to a conclusion. By your logic, you'd have to first believe them and then look for reasons why they do this.
I already found a reason.
Oh, he does believe it. So now he's very contradicting.
What about the Jews killing Amalek?
What about it?
Saying you said like because they killed us. I'm saying we also killed Amalek.
Well, first of all, we didn't kill Amalek. We almost killed him.
Almost, yeah.
And they didn't kill us.
Yeah.
The Christians didn't kill us.
They've been murdering.
They almost did. We're still here.
That's true. So we have a war with Amalek. So what's the problem with that?
Maybe they feel as though they have a war with the Jews.
Say it again.
Perhaps they feel as though they have a war with the Jews.
They do.
Okay, then what would be the problem with that?
There's no problem. We kill them and that's it. What else do you do with somebody? What else do you do with an enemy?
It wouldn't make it any less true.
The question here is not true. The question is whether it's moral.
Why is it more
Their
moral?
God is able to
What's
define
not
what it
true? What's not true? There is a nation called Amalek and we want to kill him. What's not
No,
true?
Christians, why is them killing us considered maybe in there for their religion that's a holy war?
A holy war against people who did nothing to them.
Yes.
Well,
Maybe it thinks it moral. Maybe their God thinks it moral. Maybe their God told them to. I'm saying God didn't tell them to.
right. But our God said not, so there's a contradiction.
Which one do you believe?
The one that doesn't kill me. I'm not crazy.
True.
What was the other reason besides for them killing us?
That it contradicts the Torah. He's a Novi Sheker. He's telling you that you don't have to do mitzvahs. So that's a contradiction again. The Eibishter says you have to do mitzvahs. He comes along and says, no, you don't.
Right. So you have to have the premise that Torah is your truth, and then
Yeah,
if you're evaluating both equally,
right. So that's an intelligent issue. But to say, I don't believe you,
It's not saying I don't.
on what grounds?
If I were to tell you,
Let me put it differently. There's something dishonest in the whole debate between the believers and the non-believers, the atheists. It's almost like if you don't believe in God, you don't have to prove anything. But if you do believe, you have to prove everything.
well, the burden of proof would be on the person making the claim.
You're making a claim too.
Which claim?
You're saying it's not true.
Saying I don't know if it's true.
If you don't know it's true when somebody is telling you it's true, you have to have a good reason. Why don't you believe me? You can't say, well, I'm a skeptic. You can't get away with that. You got to justify being a skeptic. So it's like, if I don't believe, I don't have to prove anything. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So it's an unfair debate. I don't know who made those rules, but it seems to be like, if you're skeptical, you don't have to prove anything. You're safe, but you're not. You're not. Any position you take, you got to make sense. You can't just say, I don't trust. That's not the sense. So here's the rule. When you hear something you've never heard before, it is true unless it's proven otherwise. You've learned something new. It's been a good day. Don't understand it? Ask questions. Find out more. But I don't believe it's just a lazy mind. It makes sense or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so last follow-up question. So why take Yiddishkeit over a peaceful religion, not Christianity or Islam? Buddhism.
Like
Hinduism. I don't know.
Hinduism is not a religion because it doesn't have a Bible. It has no God with instructions. So Hinduism or Buddhism is a philosophy. It's not a religion.
Nothing was wrong with that. Just to believe in philosophy. Everyone's clear with the answer? Any questions? We'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very likely that the original Buddhist or Hindu philosophy came from Avraham Avinu. Because the first people to move to the Far East were his children, Avraham's children.
Right.
They took with them Avraham's philosophy of life before there was Torah.
Do they talk share similarities? The philosophy of...
Yeah, they talk about neshamas coming and going, Gilgulim.